Hey everyone, in this video we are going to look into parameterized constructors and we are going to make an example, okay? But this video is going to be short because there are only a few changes between the parameterized and the default constructors. So a default constructor does not have any parameter, but if you need, a constructor can have parameters, okay? That's the time that you need to use parameterized constructor. This helps you to assign initial value to an object at the time of its creation. So, like the default constructors, the parameterized constructor must have the same name of class and it must be a public member, and also the parameterized constructor must not return any values. Okay? The only difference is we can give some initialization values to these constructors, which means that you can think of parameterized constructors as some sort of setter functions. Okay? So let's dive into the example directly and see what does this mean. Okay? So we are going to use the same example that we had written in the default constructors. We are just going to implement some changes into this example. Okay? So in this example, we created our constructor as default constructor. Okay? So the default constructors are not taking any argument. The difference is parameterized constructors are taking an argument and using them as to set some first initialization values. Okay? So in this example, we are going to change our constructors, the default constructor to parameterized constructor. Okay. So in here, I am going to assign the first initial value as the name. Okay. So in here, I'm going to type string because the name of my object is going to be string as I defined here, and I'm gonna name it as name X. Okay. So I named it as name X because I don't want this to be mixed up with some other arguments or variable names. Okay. So in here we defined our constructor. We defined our parameterized constructor in here, and now we are going to change its functionality. Okay. So in here we created our constructor and we gave it the void as the argument. Okay, so we are going to change it as the same, the string name X. Okay, so the name X is just a temporary name. You don't have to give the same argument name in here and here, so we can just change it. And for you to be remembered that I'm going to change it as name Y, so that you will be understand that these and these are not to be the same. Okay, they are not have to be the same. So in this function body, I'm going to change my functionality to assigning name variable with the name Y, which is my argument name. Okay, so in the constructor we are assigning the argument to our variable. Okay, so this is done. In the main function we are creating our object, so this must be the take the first initial value. Okay, so we are going to open and close the parentheses and we are going to give the name in here. Okay, so I'm going to give the first initial name in here, and this is going to be the kitty. Okay, so the first created object's name is going to be kitty. Okay, so I'm going to print this to the screen so that we will be able to see that constructor is working, the parameterized constructor is working, and change the give the first value as the kitty to my animal object. Okay, so I'm going to type here name of animal. Okay, so I'm going to call the animal dot get name again, and the end line is ending line. Okay, this is perfect. So I'm going to compile this, and after that I'm going to run this. So as you see in the DOS screen, we are seeing that object is being created. Be patient, and this is coming from the constructors. Okay, constructor line. And when we first created our object, as you remember, the constructor is automatically being called. Okay, so when this is called, this is print something to the screen, and this something is object is being created. Be patient. Okay, so after that it is assigning its argument as the name to the name variable. Okay, so my first name is going to be Kitty, and I'm checking it. The name of animal is Kitty now. Okay, so after that, I am using my setter function to set another name to my animal object. Okay, the name is Milo, and I'm waiting for seeing this in the screen. The name of animal is Milo. Okay, so this is working, and in this video we saw that what is parameterized constructor and what is the difference between the default constructor and the parameterized constructor, and we see this in the example. Okay, so in the next lecture we are going to dive into the copy constructors. So see you in the next lecture.